Hello and welcome back to Rage Gaming and Season 12 of Diablo 4. With this video, I'm going to give you a quick idea of your leveling path and important things to know going into the new season. Last season brought the return of things like the capstones, so if you missed that, it's quite important for your progression path. Naturally though, things change every season, certainly from PTR to launch, so this is just your logical layout with the tips and things alongside that. You follow along, you see how things feel, you make the adjustments you need to as we go. I will assume you have basic D4 knowledge, some awareness of Season 12, but I'll mention stuff, so let's get into it. We start with what you need to do before you begin leveling, which is make your character, skip the campaign, get into the new seasonal content. The only thing you have to think about is the difficulty choice. Normal or hard will be pretty much your options. I recommend hard to get the XP increase if you have any experience with D4 at all. Last season things were completely fine with this, but the simple rule is to know your power spikes and play around that. For certain classes, about level 15, you get your class passives, and then at that time you might imprint on your amulet, maybe your rings, maybe your glove. Basically, whenever your power is high, you want to play at the highest difficulty you can while crunching everything mostly instantly. The moment you feel yourself slow down, like things aren't dying in a few seconds, then that's when you probably want to drop the difficulty. And balancing that throughout your journey is important. Anyway, once you're actually in-game, you open up your inventory again, you click the wardrobe button, and you go to the pets tab to equip the pet, so it automatically gathers currency materials. And you'll pull up the mercenary menu or map and just go to the den, to then pick a mercenary to equip and get the XP, get a sub-mercenary like work towards, and you'll also start to get towards pale marks before long, so you can use those to barter for aspects that you'll need early into the grind. Right, we begin again at 1 to 30 plus. It's a good idea to spawn in at Kyovoshad and just go do the Raising Spirits side quest. Takes 2 seconds. It's just north of the waypoint. You speak with Guard Boza, you cheer next to the guard she talks to you about, and boom, you got some herbs so you can craft your first elixirs at level 10, which is well worth it. At level 10, you'll make sure to craft any elixir and pop those permanently. It gives you a small XP increase for your monster kills. Basic elixirs at level 10 give you that 5% XP increase, but at level 50 you can get advanced elixirs, which is an 8% increase. You can also use incense on top of that for further XP gain, but you'll more than likely do that towards the endgame grind. After that then we'll actually get into the seasonal content for leveling. We're starting Gear Cull this time. Your goal, as usual, is progress the seasonal story as far as it will take you until you're walled by reputation. We gain reputation by engaging with the main seasonal content, which of course the Butcher is related to. This season we'll be able to turn into the Butcher temporarily, gaining new abilities and powers during it. So the story is going to introduce that and help you unlock new stuff for that. You want to be in the Butcher mode as much as possible because it's stupidly strong. So because of all of that, you're going to end up in Helltide with a familiar goal of efficiently completing Whispers, batching them together with other content. A main mechanic to manage though is the new kill streaks. The streak gives you a bunch of XP and reputation at different tiers, so at 250 kills you'll get some. But actually there's 5 tiers. There's the starting kill streak, the carnage, devastation, bloodbath, all the way to 1000 where you have massacre, and you're trying to achieve that. Helltide then is going to be a great place for kill streaks because there's never ending groups of enemies. But this season in specific, there's a new event called the Grisly Metamorphosis. You'll gather meaty offerings and use these at the Shrines of Slaughter, which then summons perfect waves of enemies for kill streaks. This can then also lead to the new bloodied items. These are just a new gear type. It's one that has a different affix that ties to kill streaks. The Rampage affix is found on armor. It gives you a form of scaling power. So the example is, say, reduced resource cost that reduces more and more as you hit the different kill streak tiers. The Feast affix is similar, but found on weapons. It's a combat bonus that's based on kills rather than like kill streak tier. So one is every 25 kills you get a berserking buff. Finally, the Hunger affix for jewelry is a unique reward, so that could be say 10% increased chance for runes during kill streaks. But anyway, we do all that, get reputation, and that unlocks the next step of the seasonal story, which will generally prioritize until that's finished. On the way here, you'll blast past your class specialization unlock, which is still automatically unlocked if you've ever done this class before. If not, you may have to go do that class quest, but make sure you activate the bonus once you've unlocked it as usual. Ultimately then, we blast events, pack mobs, open chests with the cinders whenever we can, eventually reaching the end of the first Helltide. Helltides go on break every hour for 5 minutes, despawning and resetting to spawn in a new place. Those 5-minute breaks are going to be a great time to sort the loot that you've been piling, so you don't really stop until that point. Then you'll dismantle stuff, go unlock a codex aspect, imprint on the gear, maybe swap to a higher difficulty if you feel strong enough. And just remember, your weapon's going to change too often to reliably imprint on. Your target will be first the amulet with your most important aspect, then secondary to that, rings, and maybe even the gloves if you have enough aspects to care about. If you are going to go to higher difficulty though, definitely consider one defensive aspect, Juggernauts being the prime one during leveling, for just a pile of armor. But anyway, we repeat the Helltides and progress the seasonal story until we are strong enough for that first capstone dungeon. So, capstones, as a reminder, they're back since last season. For us on the leveling journey, it unlocks skill points to spend, powering us up permanently and importantly. Later, they'll also unlock paragon points. The season journey was also replaced by the season ranking system, which is very similar. You have special objectives to get skill points and paragon points here, so you progress that pretty easy initially, but it gets a bit harder as you go. For us right now though, it means around level 30 to 40 you'll complete your first capstone. You want to do it as soon as you feel strong enough to get the skill points. But if possible, target any season rank mini objectives on the way, but do save the Strongholds one for a specific moment we'll highlight. Anyway, with the capstone complete, we'll continue to hit Helltide on the highest difficulty we can without slowing down in a meaningful way. Don't forget that your weapon eye level is going to be one of your main massive power spikes. To add to it, you might find the Undercity Tributes, the one you care about will be the Growth Tribute. This gives you special XP bonuses when you complete it, and they were buffed last season. They're rarer, but if you do find a Growth Tribute before you're level 60, it's worth considering. There's also the Fleeting Hordes, which was like a mini infernal hordes meant for leveling. Fine to do, especially in a group because you can clear it really efficiently, but I wouldn't overly worry about them. There's also a new dungeon special type where you can be the butcher for the whole dungeon run, which is definitely worth doing. But to get back on track, once you hit roughly level 50, it'll be time for the classic Stronghold strat, where you drop down to normal difficulty. Yes, normal, because you want to kill these and clear these as quick as possible. The XP comes from the completion at the end, and that doesn't scale whatever difficulty you're on. So you do it on normal to get it done quick, and get these big bursts of XP. It's awesome. Plus, Strongholds should be tied to the season rank, so we'll double up there. When we're done with the Strongholds, you'll be ready to take on the next capstone and get your next set of skill points. We want to do this after the Strongholds because we want to be as strong as possible, as high level as possible, for the capstone that requires you to be on Penitent difficulty. If you're still not 60 after that, then you can go back to the Helltide, maybe even consider the Pit, so let's talk about that. So to prepare for Torment 1, you've got options. You could also take on the Pit before 60 here, and you'll do it as soon as you feel strong enough. To actually prep our power for the Torment 1 unlock then, you need to sort your equipment and maybe swap to an actual endgame build if you're at that stage. At 60, you've got paragon boards and points to consider, glyphs to start using. You want to invest in your setup. The main thing is to make sure that your gear has imprinted aspects of relevance on them, impact that makes your build function, and any defensive options you can have to make this pit clear easier. You can easily slap in any gems or runes that you have into sockets that you already have, and temper your gear for any flat defense, health, and damage bonuses where possible. Percent bonuses are cool, but I prefer the idea of flat here at this point. Flat numbers are generally better here when you're low level and under geared because they're going to be more immediately impactful. If you want, you can also enchant some of your gear to get the right affixes or just more impactful affixes. But it is a good idea at this point to do a few nightmare dungeons, get some resources for this upgrading and setup. They'll also start to drop glyphs, and having one at least active on your starting board is a good idea. But yeah, when ready, complete the pits to get tier 10 done and unlock Torment 1. Right, so when you're finally in Torment endgame, it's time for the classic longer term progression. We start in Torment 1, and then we'll steadily push into 2, 3, and finally 4. On the way, you'll be doing the new seasonal rank to push that, and capstone still to unlock paragon points instead of skill points. There is a new thing in the endgame here for season 12 though to mention, bloodied and blood-soaked sigils. By using these, you make content harder but get better rewards. You can make nightmare dungeons, infernal hordes, and lair bosses harder. And it feels like an extra tier of difficulty, so if you do it on Torment 1, it'll feel like Torment 2. If you do it on Torment 4, it's going to feel like as if there was a Torment 5. And by using these, you also make it likely that the Butcher will spawn. But that's bloodied sigils. Blood-soaked sigils are a higher form of it, raising content difficulty to that of a pit tier 100. So these are generally going to be used when you're basically done with a Torment grind and you want to add more difficulty because you have immense power. Like you're in Torment 4 and you want to add that difficulty at that point because you're crunching everything in Torment 4. For us though, at the start of Torment 1, we'll stick in Torment 1 And we'll do some basic hell tides, dungeons, and other content to gather some materials for layer bosses. As soon as we have enough for one, we go hunt down layer bosses to get their uniques, to get higher eye level equipment, especially weapons. You'll try to target the layer bosses you care most about to get the uniques you need for your build though. And if you don't know, layer bosses are now free to kill, but you need their respective keys to open the chest that spawns when they die. And yeah, you get them from relevant content. So Hell Tides for Grigore keys, Whispers for Varshan. There's also the new Butcher one this season for the Butcher content. And layer bosses are split up into tiers. Lower tier bosses give you keys for higher tier bosses. And at Torment 1, you'll just be going after tier 1 bosses. Just don't forget, the more people in your group at the moment that the layer boss is killed, the more items will drop from the chest. As soon as you're ready then, you go do the next capstone, which gives you paragon points. We head into Torment 2, repeat those processes, and take on the next capstone when you're ready. Just bouncing between the different content, focus on whatever you need and helps you the most right now. Maybe right now that means running Nightmare Dungeons for their glyph drop rate and getting all those. Doing the occasional escalation. It could mean spending some time in the pits to actually level those glyphs that you have running. Maybe you're bouncing between Hell Tides for Whispers and many gear drops, layer bosses still for the uniques you still need, and maybe you get some Undercity tributes for say runes or other useful stuff, modifying the content through your seasonal gift system. And as soon as you've got some ancestrals and uniques and the items that get your endgame build kind of online, you'll fully transition out the leveling build if you haven't already. As soon as you feel strong enough, you progress the pit tiers, and yeah, go higher torment levels for increased XP and loot, doing the capstones whenever possible. There's one capstone in each torment level to do, naturally going alongside to Torment 4, where you'll finally consider those new bloodied and blood-soaked sigils, so good luck. But yeah, that's my overview of Season 12 and the progression path, the general journey that we're on. Quite familiar really to Season 11, but we are expecting a lot of changes coming in Season 13 and the expansion of course. So good luck in Season 12, and until next time, thanks for watching.
Josh, Cotton, and Hollow with the videos, dropping the humor like a hammer on your tippy toes, bringing entertainment on a daily arrangement to take our insanity and turn it into entertainment. Yes, I said entertainment twice, to reiterate that it is nice to look into your faces on a mostly daily basis when you let us in your homes to make the whole world a stage. Goodbye.